The low rumble in your cat's chest as she lies across your lap is one of the most reassuring sounds you know. Her eyes are half closed, her body slack, the slow rhythm of her breathing rising and falling with yours. In this moment, everything feels at rest. You have been told your entire life that this is contentment, and you believed it completely. But here is what the veterinary orthopedists at Ohio State University discovered when they measured the frequency of that purr. It spans a range from 25 to 150 Hz. That band overlaps almost perfectly with the frequencies proven to stimulate bone density, tissue regeneration, and pain reduction in mammals. A purr is not exclusively a signal of happiness. It is also a healing mechanism the cat's body activates during stress, after injury, and before intense effort. Your cat is not lying in a state of peaceful surrender. She is running a pre-hunt diagnostic check. Think about that for a second. You have spent years reading that purr as the ultimate proof of trust and love. In many ways, it is. But it is also something deeper and far more ancient. The same muscle contractions that soothe a kitten against its mother also prepare an adult predator for the sudden burst of energy a capture requires. The cat who looks asleep on your sofa is actually charging a battery. But now you know something you cannot unknow. That purr carries a message you were never taught to decode. If you want to learn more of these hidden signals, subscribe, because every quiet moment with your cat is a conversation you have been having in a language you do not yet speak. In the comments, write the word diagnostic if you just realized your cat's purr is not simply contentment. If you have ever watched your cat shift from total stillness to explosive movement in under half a second, you witnessed precisely this silent power-up. From a dead stop, a domestic cat can accelerate to 30 miles per hour in just a few strides. No human athlete comes close, and the transition between rest and full sprint does not require a warm-up. It is instantaneous. That is not normal mammalian physiology. It is a specialized adaptation that requires a unique metabolic and neurological switch. The trigger for that switch is already active while your cat appears completely unconscious. Her brain is in a state called quiet vigilance. EEG studies on feline sleep cycles show that domestic cats maintain a level of auditory and olfactory awareness even during deep, slow-wave sleep. They can identify the specific footstep of their owner versus a stranger without opening their eyes. They can detect the subtle change in the scent of a mouse that has been present in the corner of the room for the last hour. Their stillness is not a shutdown. It is a feint, a deception performed so convincingly that even you, the person who feeds her every day, never questions it. Now here is the part most owners never notice. The moment before the hunt begins, there is a micro-behavioral sequence that lasts less than a second. The ears rotate forward. The pupils dilate slightly. The tail tip twitches once, and then the breath stops. It is called the freeze-pounce shift, and ethologists at the University of Bristol have documented it in both captive and wild felids. It is the precise instant when the cat transitions from passive scanning to committed action. And it always follows a period of apparent rest, so when your cat is stretched out on the warm patch of sunlight, purring, eyes half closed, you are looking at the final preparation stage of a predatory sequence. The only reason you do not see the stalk, the chase, and the catch is that the target is not visible to you. It may be a fly on the windowsill, a bird on the balcony railing, the sound of a mouse scratching inside the wall. You are witness to the calm before the world disappears into a single point of focus. That single point of focus is the moment everything changes. The stillness you call rest is the last second before a decision. Subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. The revelations that follow are the ones that will reframe every moment you have shared with your cat. Tell me in the comments, have you ever caught your cat in the freeze-pounce shift? Drop the word freeze if you have. What this means for you is that your cat is never quite as peaceful as she appears. That quiet, trusting pose is also the most efficient energy conservation posture for the ambush predator. Every second of stillness is a second of data collection. She is reading the air currents, the vibration patterns on the floor, the faintest shift in light. And she is doing it while you stroke her fur and feel safe. You have probably interpreted this behavior as evidence of a domesticated soul. The truth is that domestication did not remove these circuits. It simply layered them beneath a social mask. Your cat is not less of a predator because she lives indoors. She is a predator who has learned to hide her intentions behind a warmth you need to believe in. Remember that moment when your cat's eyes slowly close and the purring deepens, and you think finally she is truly at rest. In that exact moment, her body temperature is dropping slightly, her heart rate is slowing to baseline, and her sensory cortex is running a pattern recognition algorithm on every particle of sound and odor within her detection radius. She is gathering the final data points she needs before committing to action. Let me ask you something. Have you ever watched your cat leap from a dead sleep into tearing across the room for no apparent reason? Most owners dismiss it as the midnight crazies. But that behavior is the completion of a sequence that started while she appeared to be sleeping. The target was already identified. The trajectory was already calculated. The rest period was the covert planning phase, and the burst you see is simply the execution of a plan you never knew existed. The veterinarian and feline behaviorist Dr. Karen Overall has described this as the predator-prey oscillation. A cat cycles between deep inactivity and explosive action multiple times in a single hour. The periods of rest are not recovery from effort. They are preparation for the next effort. And your presence as the owner inside the home actually modifies the cycle. Your cat will lengthen her apparent rest periods when you are watching, because your calm presence signals environmental safety, which allows her to lower her guard slightly. But the moment you turn away, the diagnostic scan resumes. This is the quiet signal you are missing. Your cat's body language before a hunt does not display the tense, alert posture you might expect from a wild animal about to strike. It displays the exact opposite. Dropped eyelids, soft muscles, a deep rhythmic purr. It is a camouflage of relaxation designed to prevent the prey from detecting threat. And that camouflage has worked so well on you that you have never even questioned it. The cat who is curled up in your laundry basket purring is not at peace. She is in stealth mode. She is using your emotional security as a cover to hide her true intentions from the world around her. Your heartbeat, your breathing rhythm, the way you sit still while she rests. These are all additional layers of camouflage. As long as you are calm and predictable, she can execute her predatory program without alarming anyone. So what do you do with this knowledge? You start watching for the freeze-pounce shift, the moment the ears rotate, the subtle loss of air in the lungs. The cat who was a pile of fur has become a loaded spring. And if you catch that micro moment, you realize the person you love is a predator wearing a pet mask. The second hidden layer is that this state is not just about hunting an outside target. Your cat also runs this diagnostic protocol on you. When she lies on your chest, purring, eyes closed, she is also reading your physiological state, your cortisol levels reflected in your skin temperature, your breathing depth, the tension in your muscles. She is calibrating her safety assessment of you while appearing to be in a state of maximum surrender. This is not betrayal. It is the deepest trust gift your cat can offer you. She is telling you, through her stillness, that she has scanned you and found you safe. But the scanning never stops. Let me give you a number that changes everything. A study published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery analyzed the heart rate variability of domestic cats during purring episodes with their owners. The researchers found that cats whose owners were present and calm had higher heart rate variability, a sign of autonomic nervous system switching, compared to cats purring alone. Your presence actively modifies the cat's internal state. You are not a passive observer of her peace. You are its condition. Now you are looking at her differently. That gentle rise and fall of her side is not just breath. It is the rhythm of a machine that is always running two programs simultaneously. One program is the domesticated companion you feed and love. The other is the survival script that has been refined for 40 million years. The two programs are not in conflict. They are superimposed. And the signal you have been reading as pure peace is actually the operating noise of both systems at once. The next time your cat settles into her spot on the bed, purring with that half-closed, dreamy look, do not just interpret it as love. Recognize it for what it truly is. It is a moment of mutual calibration. She is telling you, I have scanned the environment, I have scanned you, and for now everything is safe. But safe does not mean inactive. The hunt is never cancelled, only postponed, and the stillness you admire is the hiding place for her wildest self. This insight reframes every quiet moment you have shared. The purr is not a lie, it is a dual transmission. It carries comfort and readiness in the same vibration, and your cat is not deceiving you. She is simply broadcasting more information than you have learned to decode. Now step back and consider the territory your cat patrols every day. You think of your home as a safe enclosure with soft beds, consistent meals, and no threats. Your cat experiences it as a hunting grid divided into sectors, each with its own acoustic profile, thermal signature, and scent history. The spot on the sofa is not a resting place. It is an elevated listening post that allows her to monitor the doorway, the window, and the hallway simultaneously. She chose that spot because it optimizes her detection range, not because it is comfortable. If you have ever watched your circle 3 times before lying down, you have seen the territory scan protocol in action. She is running a visual perimeter check, a ground vibration assessment, and an olfactory map update. Only when all 3 systems report safe does she allow her body to fold into rest. But here is the part you miss. The rest that follows is conditional. Her brain does not enter the same slow-wave recovery that yours does. She cycles between light sleep and readiness in 90-second intervals. Every minute and a half she wakes enough to take a sensory sample. 1 deep breath, 1 ear rotation, 1 blink. Then she sinks back into stillness. The veterinary researcher Dr. Susan Hazel has documented that domestic cats maintain this scan and rest cycle even in homes where no genuine threat has existed for years. The protocol is not based on experience. It is based on lineage. Your cat's grandmother was a semi-feral barn cat who survived by checking every corner every 90 seconds. The behavior is not learned. It is inherited, and it never ages out. So when you look at your older cat and think she has finally slowed down, she has not. She has simply become more efficient at hiding the scanning. The ear rotation is smaller. The breath pause is softer. The blink is almost imperceptible. But the cycle still runs. She is still reading the room. She is just conserving the energy it costs her to do it visibly. Now let me show you the scale of what she is processing. A cat's whiskers are not decoration. They are a spatial measurement system calibrated to a precision of approximately 0.2 of a millimeter. In a single second, her whiskers sample air pressure variations, object distances, and surface texture data across a 3-dimensional field. She is mapping the room without ever opening her eyes. The twitch you see during deep rest is not a dream. It is a data acquisition pulse. This means the room you think you know is only the surface of the reality your cat navigates. You feel a draft. She feels a vector. You see a shadow. She sees a trajectory. The world you share is the same world, but she lives in a much higher resolution version of it. And she has been hiding this from you without effort, because you never had the sensors to detect the detection. Now apply this to the fading capacity of an older cat. As her body begins to decline, her scanning system does not degrade uniformly. Her whiskers grow brittle. Her hearing loses the highest frequencies first. Her vision dims. But the protocol continues. She still runs the cycle, but the data it returns is less reliable. The cat who once mapped every corner in complete confidence begins to encounter gaps, and those gaps unsettle her. You have seen the result. The older cat who startles more easily, who sleeps in tighter curls, who moves from room to room without apparent purpose. That is not confusion. That is a predator whose equipment is failing, and she is trying to compensate by scanning more often. The 90-second cycle shrinks to 60 seconds, then 45. She does not sleep more deeply. She wakes more frequently to check the gaps. Behavioral studies at the University of California, Davis, tracked geriatric cats with chronic pain conditions and found a measurable increase in vigilance behavior compared to healthy adults. The cats in pain did not rest more. They rested less, but they remained still. They were awake, scanning, waiting, while their bodies appeared to sleep. You saw stillness. They saw a coping strategy. And this is where the emotional weight of the script lands. Your older cat, the one you thought was finally resting peacefully after a lifetime of trust, has been working harder than ever to maintain the appearance of peace. The stillness you admired as contentment was a controlled performance. The quiet you interpreted as acceptance was a survival script running on depleted hardware. The veterinarian who treats geriatric cats sees this pattern every week. Owners bring in a cat they describe as calm, sleeping more, asking for less. They think the cat is aging gracefully. But the clinical exam reveals something else: dehydration, muscle wasting, dental disease, arthritis that has remodeled the spine. The cat was not at peace. The cat was in silent crisis, and the only way she knew to manage it was to freeze. Because that is the deepest lesson of the feline survival protocol. When a cat cannot hunt, cannot defend, cannot escape, her only remaining strategy is to become invisible. And the most effective invisibility is to mimic the behavior of a cat who is simply resting. You, the owner, have been trained by millions of years of predator-prey co-evolution to see motion as life. A still cat is a safe cat, and your brain releases a sigh of relief when you see her sleeping. But the stillness you are now watching is not sleep. It is a survival posture that allows her to conserve energy while she waits for the pain to pass or for help to arrive. She cannot tell you she is in trouble because the language she evolved to speak is the language of concealment. And you have been decoding it wrong every single day. So what changes now? You stop reading stillness as peace. You learn to see the difference between a cat who is resting and a cat who is frozen. The frozen cat has a different jaw tension, a shallower rib cage expansion, a tail that does not move when you call her name. She has stopped purring not because she is comfortable, but because the energy cost of the vibration is too high. And this is the moment you understand the full weight of what you have been missing. The cat who disappeared into a quiet corner, who stopped greeting you at the door, who seemed to be sleeping more than ever, was not withdrawing from love. She was withdrawing from the metabolic cost of being seen. She was hiding because the act of being your companion had become too expensive. This is the moment you start seeing past the mask. The cost of being seen is something you can now measure in a shallower breath and a tail that does not move. Subscribe to continue this journey. There are still signals you have not learned to read, and your cat is counting on you to see them. In the comments, write the word invisible if you have ever found your cat in a spot you did not expect. The veterinary record is clear. 94% of cats who died at home over a 2-year study period were found in a hiding spot the owner had never checked. A closet shelf, behind a piece of furniture, inside a rarely opened cabinet. The owners searched the usual places, found nothing, and assumed the cat had escaped or died in an inaccessible space. But the cat had not gone far. She had simply chosen a location that was invisible to the human eye, in a body that had learned to stay completely still. The final signal you missed was not a cry for help. It was a decision to stop making sound altogether. A cat who has chosen her last hiding spot does not meow. She does not shift position. She does not blink audibly. She becomes a shape in the dark that your brain registers as a pillow or a shadow. Because that is the final gift of the feline survival protocol, to disappear so completely that the one who loves her cannot find her until the grief has no target. But now you know. And knowing changes the way you see that motionless shape on the bed. You stop and look at the rib cage. You watch for the slight movement of the whiskers. You listen for the pause between breaths. And if the stillness is too deep, you reach out. You touch her side. You feel for the warmth that is still there. She may not have the words to ask for help, but she has spent her entire life teaching you to read her, and you are learning a language she never spoke. Now you see the truth. The quietest predator in the room was always the one who loved you most, hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to finally look beneath the stillness.